Hi, this is Mrs. Han. I'm going to be explaining how to do this activity, distribution of natural resources. We're going to be looking at data from different countries and seeing how they vary in population, in their density, in what resources they have, and what resources they use. So it's going to be kind of an interesting comparison. The first thing you want to do, you can open it up with Cami. If you do that, the links don't work, but you'll be able to just type it in easily. Do not open it up with Google Docs because that will change the formatting. The first section is just writing your predictions, what you think the answers are to these countries, which 3 countries are the most populated, which 3 are the most densely populated. So you're going to take a moment and give your best guesses for what the top 3 countries in all of these areas are. So if you want, you can pause and I'll give you a second to answer those questions. Then what you're going to do is you're going to open up this website by either clicking on it, or you can just type in world.bymap.org. Okay, it's changed a little bit since this lab, so there's just a few things that are not exactly the same, but I think you'll get the hang of it. Okay, let me get rid of my picture here. So this is just showing you how to navigate around. You can click on the country. So first you have to choose something. So if you choose population size and density, then you can click on country and it will sort it alphabetically like that. If you want to sort it by total population, then you can click on this one and it'll give you the most populated countries, the countries with the highest populations to the countries with the least population. And then if you click on this, it will sort it by population density. How crowded are these countries? How many people are there in every square kilometer? So this is a super, super dense country, Macau. And if you want to find out more about Macau, you can click on that and it will show you it's this small country near Hong Kong in Asia. Okay, Singapore is also another small country, and you can go ahead and zoom out to see where we're talking about. So that's that teeny country right here, and here's the Philippines, Vietnam. Okay, now we can see a little better. Here's India, China. Okay, so there's some small countries in here. And so this is basically how you navigate around this website. Okay, so the next many pages, you're going to be looking at different categories to find out the answers to the questions that you guessed on or predicted or gave your best guess on. So the first one is going to be population size and density. So under this population heading, you'll be able to click right here. You don't have to click here on these links each time. It will work if you're on a PDF, or you can just go home and then it will give you all the categories and then you can find the specific one. So you're going to go ahead and answer these questions. The top 5 most populated, how many people are in those countries, the top 5 most densely populated countries. So I would click on here to get the most densely, and how many people are in every square kilometer. And then what years is this data representing? 2018. Okay, and then you're just gonna keep going. The next category is gonna be population growth rate. Under population, so I'm gonna go here and click on growth rate. And I wanna know which countries are growing the fastest. But this question right here, how is population growth of a country determined? that answer is going to be at the bottom right here of each category. It talks about what this category means. So population growth gives the average percent change in the population resulting from a surplus or deficit of births over deaths and the balance of migrants entering and leaving a country. So they take all the people born and all the people entering a country and compare it to all the people who die and all the people who leave a country. And if there's more people who are born and enter a country than die and leave a country, then you're going to have a positive population growth. But if more people are dying than are being born, or more people are leaving than are being born and entering, then you're going to have a negative population growth. So like down here, these countries are not growing. In fact, they're shrinking in their population. If the number of births and deaths are even and the people entering and leaving a country are even, then there's going to be no growth. The population is going to stay the same. So that would be like these two cities there, or I guess Vatican City is a country. Considered a country. It's a city. But they are not growing or decreasing. So that's going to be how you do this section. Okay. The next section is gross domestic product. So you're going to go under economy and you're going to go ahead and click on GDP, which stands for gross domestic product. And it's asking you, what is gross domestic product? So let's go down to the bottom, and it's all the goods and services produced within a nation in a given year. So it's kind of like how rich is this country by what they produce and what services they produce. So it's sort of like their purchasing power. So you can read this a little bit more and answer 11 and 12. And then you're going to go ahead and list the top 5 richest countries and their total GDP. And then also which areas are the lowest in GDP. And so you're going to go all the way to the bottom, click on a few of these countries and see where they are in the world that seem to be lower in capita, in GDP per capita. So capita means per person. Then you're going to go to oil production. Under energy, is it under energy? It looks like they now call it oil and gas. So crude oil production, and you're going to go ahead and list the top 5 countries that make the most oil, which is kind of surprising. I didn't know the United States was up there. But definitely this Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, they're producing a lot of oil. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and answer those questions. Now, the next section is oil consumption. Who's using the oil? This is who's producing the oil. And the next section is who's consuming the oil. So that would be petroleum consumption. So you're going to go ahead and answer those questions. Electricity production. And then the next section is electricity consumption. So which countries are producing a lot of electricity? That would be right here. And which countries are using a lot of electricity, consuming a lot of electricity? This next section is on carbon dioxide emissions. Basically, who's burning a lot of fuel and coal and gas and polluting the environment with carbon dioxide. So that would be under environment here, carbon dioxide emissions. So not surprisingly, we're kind of at the top in a lot of these. We use a lot of energy, which means we would probably be polluting a lot as well, producing carbon dioxide. Hydroelectric will be, it's using water to produce electricity. So those hydroelectric dams are one of the ways that we're trying to have clean energy. So under electricity, you're going to go under hydroelectricity, and you're going to answer those questions about the countries that are producing a lot of their electricity through water generated turbines. And if you're interested, you can Google a picture of hydroelectricity and you can see how they work and how dams produce electricity. Okay. Then the next section is going to be electricity by other renewable resources. So that will be right here, electricity by other renewable. And you might be wondering, what are the other renewable resources? So that would be right here, wind, wave, solar, geothermal. That's right here. And where do we rank? How are we doing? So we might not be one of the top 5. So where do we rank? You'll be looking here, looking for the United States and seeing that we rank at 61 for non-hydroelectric, but other renewables. Okay. Then you're going to go to unimproved sanitation. Just does not sound like a good thing. So under health, what does unimproved sanitation mean? So for that, we'll look at, they should have the definition at the top, but they've got it at the bottom. Okay, so it means that they're using flush or pour flush to a piped sewer system, septic tank, pit latrine, kind of basically an old school type of toilet, not our typical sewer system that we have where we flush it down and it goes to the sewage treatment plant. So these countries have not so updated sanitation facilities. So that would be some of these: South Sudan, Niger, Togo, Madagascar. So you can see where they're located and what percent of the population has unimproved sanitation. Then you'll be looking at unimproved drinking water, what that means. Underweight children, which countries have underweight children, which is probably going to reflect their GDP and their food situation. So if we go to health, underweight children, what causes underweight children? Okay, so it's an indicator of the nutritional status of a community. So if the children aren't getting enough nutrition, then they're going to suffer more illness and death. And then you're going to be looking at life expectancy for each country. So how old are you expected to live to? So some countries they have a very high life expectancy, an average of almost 90 years old, and some are in the 50s. And you'll look at where the United States ranks. Obesity, which countries have the highest rates of obesity? I'm a little scared to look at that one. And how is it defined? What is BMI? Okay. And after you do that, then you're going to compare your results to what your predictions were, and you're going to answer these questions. So you will either answer your questions here, or if I make an answer sheet, you can go ahead and use that answer sheet so it's not so confusing. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email or text me. And I hope you enjoy and learn a lot from this activity.